Welcome back to Hungry Theologian, helping you taste and see that the Lord is good. Today I'm showing you homemade pesto, which is quick, easy, and delicious. It's a great reason for you to plant a bunch of basil, and it's definitely cheaper than buying pesto at the store. Afterwards, I'll show you an easy pasta dish to use your fresh pesto and look at what the Bible says about friendship. Now let's get cooking. Traditionally, pesto is made in a mortar and pestle, but if you want to save time and effort, you can use a food processor. The trick to still get great results from a food processor is to freeze the basil leaves in advance. In the bowl of a food processor, add 2 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of pine nuts, and a pinch of salt. Pulse until everything is pretty fine. Then add 1 ounce of grated Parmigiano Reggiano and half an ounce of grated Pecorino Romano. Pulse a few times, then add 3 ounces or so of frozen basil leaves. Pulse until the basil is quite fine and incorporated with the other ingredients. Scrape down the side of your food processor as needed to make sure all the basil gets incorporated. Transfer to another container and stir in extra virgin olive oil. Begin with a 1/4 cup, then continue adding olive oil until you reach your desired consistency and taste. It's really that easy. Now for an easy pesto pasta, because I want to keep using ingredients from our garden. Start by bringing some salted water to a boil. I'm using a wide skillet like this so I can boil the pasta in less water, which will up the starch content of my pasta water. Starchy pasta water is important in basically any Italian pasta dish. Then I'm boiling some spaghetti and adding to that some Yukon Gold potato cut in 1/2-inch pieces and green beans trimmed and cut on the bias into 2 to 3 pieces each. When the pasta is al dente and the potatoes and green beans are tender, use some tongs to remove everything to a large bowl. Add pesto a little bit at a time, along with a 1/4 cup of pasta water, and toss vigorously to emulsify the pesto and pasta water. It should become a creamy consistency that coats the pasta well. Add more pesto according to your taste. Some people like very light pesto. I'm a fan of more pesto on my pasta. If the sauce is breaking and you see oil pooling in the bowl, add more pasta water and toss vigorously to emulsify. The starchy pasta water will help it come together into a perfectly creamy sauce. This pasta dish with the potatoes and green beans is featured in the new Pixar movie Luca. The only difference in the movie is that they make it with trenette, which is a thicker pasta similar to linguine or fettuccine. I didn't realize this when I was planning this video. I originally just wanted to show an easy pasta dish using fresh pesto and use some more things from our garden. But once I saw this pasta in Luca, I thought it would be a great opportunity to offer some biblical thinking on friendship. Because our media today is so over-sexualized, a story like Luca that's simply focused on friendship is actually pretty rare. I recently saw a study showing how significantly the number of close friends people have has declined over the last several decades. And I wonder what sort of connection there might be between the decline in friendships in the US and the dearth of media depictions of healthy friendships. As Robert Putnam has observed since the 90s, we've been forgetting as a society why friendships, and especially friendships with those different from ourselves, are essential to our flourishing. Confusion about friendships with other people will undoubtedly lead to misunderstandings of our friendship with God. In John 15, Jesus explains that the greatest expression of love is to lay down one's life for one's friends. That's why the most moving scene in Luca is an example of this kind of self-giving love. Giving my life for the good of a friend is the greatest expression of love, and that's exactly what Jesus has done for us. But then he goes on and says, "You're my friends if you do what I command you," which sounds a lot more like a servant than a friend. But Jesus says, "I don't call you servants because the servant doesn't know what the master is doing. But I've called you friends because I've made known to you everything that I've heard from my Father." A servant simply does what they're told, but a friend really understands the heart and mind of the other. A friend knows the other well enough to be able to pursue their good. And that's the sort of relationship that Jesus invites his followers into. Jesus reminds his disciples that he's revealed the Father to them. To know God, we can look to Jesus. And to truly know God will lead us to keep his commandments, to follow the way that he's taught us to live well. Jesus calls us his friends because he invites us to know him. Our friendship with God isn't the result of doing the right things to earn his favor. And Jesus emphasizes this by telling his disciples, "You didn't choose me, but I chose you." We're called friends of God and brought near to him, not because we've earned our place in that friendship, but because of God's love for us. And our friendship with God isn't at risk of being canceled if we express the wrong opinion on politics or current events. Jesus has shown his love for us, his friends, by laying down his life for us. And he instructs us to do the same. Love one another as I have loved you. How might a better understanding of friendship with God shape the way you see God? Maybe you need to hear from Jesus that you're not a servant, but a friend. And how might this understanding of friendship shape the friendships that you build with others? If you enjoyed this video or you learned something from it, click the like button and share this with a friend.